For 5 years, I couldn't enjoy my own backyard. Every time I stepped outside, two massive dogs would slam into the fence like I committed a crime just by existing. The barking never stopped. The neighbors didn't care. So eventually, I stopped caring too. And what happened next? Let's just say they finally got to hear exactly what I'd been dealing with. If you've ever dealt with nightmare neighbors, barking dogs, or someone who thinks your peace doesn't matter, you're going to love this one. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more real Reddit revenge stories. And let me know in the comments, what's the pettiest thing you've ever done to protect your peace? Now let's get into it. When my wife and I bought our house 5 years ago, we knew it wasn't perfect. It was a fixer-upper, peeling paint, overgrown yard, decades of neglect. The kind of property that makes most buyers back out the second they see it. But when we stood on the back deck, looking down over that huge backyard, sunlight spilling across uneven grass, the faint outline of what could be garden beds, space for a fire pit, we saw potential. And that potential felt like freedom. We worked ourselves to exhaustion that first year. Weekends weren't relaxing. They were brutal, clearing out thick, tangled overgrowth along the property line, pulling weeds that had probably been there longer than we'd been alive, installing a 6-foot privacy fence board by board. I can still remember the feeling of sore hands wrapped around a shovel at 8 p.m., sweat dry in the summer air, thinking, this is going to be worth it. We regraded the yard, reseeded, planted trees, built a fire pit where we could host friends. It became our sanctuary, our escape. There was just one problem. From our elevated deck, you could see straight into the neighbor's yard, and that's where the barking started. When we first moved in, they had one dog, a pit bull. I don't hate pit bulls. I don't hate any breed. But this dog wasn't the problem. The owners were. They'd leave it outside all day. No toys, no interaction, no stimulation, just yard. So the dog found something to fixate on. Us. The first time it happened, I opened our back door to step onto the deck and immediately heard paws tearing across grass. Then boom, the dog slammed against the fence like it was trying to break through it. And the barking, not a warning bark, not curiosity. It was frantic, aggressive, endless, the kind of bark that vibrates in your chest. We'd freeze inside the doorway. My wife would look at me with that tight expression, jaw clenched, eyebrows raised. Seriously? We tried ignoring it. We tried waiting it out. 10 minutes. 15. 20. It never stopped. So I did what you're supposed to do. I walked over and knocked on their door. No answer. I tried again another day. Same result. Eventually, I left a note with my number on their front door. I watched from my window as another neighbor, who I later found out was related to them, casually walked over, peeled the note off the door, and took it. I never got a text. That's when the frustration started to settle into something heavier. It wasn't just noise. It was disrespect. After a few more incidents, I called animal control. I didn't want to. I hate conflict. But there's only so many times you can feel trapped in your own home before something snaps. Animal control issued warnings. Things improved. Slightly. Not great, but tolerable. We were choosing our battles, as my wife liked to say. Then they got a second dog, a German Shepherd puppy. And that's when peace officially died. The pit bull, already territorial and bored, became hyper-defensive. The puppy learned fast. Every time our back door so much as clicked open, both dogs would explode across the yard and crash into the fence in stereo. 2 sets of paws, 2 sets of teeth, 2 relentless voices. It became Pavlovian. Open door equals chaos. I started recording everything. Every time we stepped outside, I hit record on my phone. Time-stamped videos. Minutes of nonstop barking. I logged dates. Duration. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't going to resolve itself politely. Eventually, we exchanged numbers. I texted them the first time the barking went on for 10 minutes straight. No response. 20 minutes later, someone finally let the dogs in. This became routine. Every single day. They weren't home most of the time. The dogs were just left out there, bored, reactive, losing their minds at the sight of us daring to exist in our own yard. I'd text, wait, listen to the barking echo against the fence, feel my shoulders tighten, and then, finally, a door would open next door and the dogs would be called in. The problem wasn't the occasional bark. It was the chronic disregard. They knew. They just didn't care. Until I stopped caring too. I held off filing a formal complaint for a long time, because filing with the city meant court. It meant paperwork, a hearing, taking time off work. All because I wanted to sit in my backyard without feeling harassed. That thought alone made my stomach twist. But one afternoon, after 45 straight minutes of barking while I was trying to grill dinner, I felt something shift. Not rage. Clarity. I wasn't being unreasonable. I had hours, literal hours, of documented proof. So I filed. Court day came. I showed up with my log. Video after video. Date after date. The judge didn't need much convincing. They got fined. And more importantly, they got a warning. If this continues, the dog will be removed. For the first time in 5 years, I saw something on their faces that resembled accountability. And that's when everything changed. Now, whenever the dogs start barking, they rush to bring them inside. But here's the beautiful part. They slam the door, and then the barking continues, just muffled inside their house. I know that sound, that relentless, echoing, nerve-grinding noise. I lived with it, and now they do. So I started spending a lot more time in the backyard. Bird feeders. Suddenly I'm very invested in local wildlife. I refill seeds. I adjust placements. I stand there patiently, watching cardinals and finches. Barbecuing? Oh, I've become a pitmaster. Slow smoking meats on random Tuesdays. Rearranging patio furniture. Accidentally dropping something so I have to step outside again. Just milling around. Existing. The moment I step out, the dogs lose it. They get hauled inside. And I imagine the neighbors sitting in their living room, listening to the chaos they ignored for years. I don't taunt them. I don't say a word. I just enjoy my yard. Fully. Freely. The barking hasn't disappeared completely, but now it stops quickly. And when I hear the muffled explosion of noise from inside their walls, followed by a frustrated yell and a slammed door, I feel something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. Justice. A quiet, petty satisfaction. I don't love that the dogs are caught in the middle. They're not villains here. They're bored, understimulated animals, reacting the only way they know how. But their owners, they finally have to deal with the consequences of their neglect. And all I had to do was exist in my own backyard. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's simply holding your ground and forcing someone else to experience the discomfort they dismissed. Protecting your peace doesn't always mean escalating. Sometimes it just means refusing to shrink. If you enjoyed the story of subtle, satisfying revenge, hit like and subscribe for more real-life karma. And tell me in the comments, have you ever dealt with nightmare neighbors?